Hello and welcome everyone to the Polity Primer series of Drishti IAS. My name is Pragya. So, in the previous episode of the Polity Primer, we were discussing some major constitutional amendments which happened during the emergency era. We saw the 38th Constitutional Amendment Act, which stated that imposition of emergency could not be challenged in any court. That means it put the imposition of emergency outside the purview of the judicial review by the courts in India. In today's discussion, we are going to study about the 39th Constitutional Amendment Act and the major changes that were introduced by this act. So, in this discussion, we are firstly going to study about what is the 39th Constitutional Amendment. Then we are also going to see the historical background behind it. Then we are also going to analyze its key provisions, and then we are going to see some of the important questions from the perspective of your prelims examinations. So, if I talk about the 39th Constitutional Amendment Act, this was also passed when emergency was there in the country of India. And as you all are aware that there was a Allahabad High Court judgment in which it was held that Indira Gandhi was barred from contesting elections on the ground of electoral malpractices, and she was not really happy about it. Though the vacation bench of the Honorable Supreme Court of India granted her a conditional stay, but the ground was she could not vote in the parliament. That means she had no voting rights in the parliament. Rights in the parliament till her appeal was being heard by the Honorable Supreme Court of India. So, in this backdrop, this 39th Constitutional Amendment Act was enacted by our then Parliament of India. So, basically the 39th Constitutional Amendment Act was enacted with the aim of nullifying the Allahabad High Court's judgment which had quashed Mrs. Indira Gandhi's election on the ground of electoral malpractices. She clearly wanted to nullify this judgment, and she wanted to stay as the Prime Minister of India. So, the amendment took away the power of the Supreme Court to try any electoral disputes with relation to the four high offices in the Constitution of India, that is the President, Vice President, Prime Minister and the Speaker of Lok Sabha. Speaker of Lok Sabha. So, I have already explained you in detail that what was the focal point of tussle between the Government of India at that point of time and the Honorable Supreme Court of India. And this amendment was a huge blow to the power of the judicial review of the Honorable Supreme Court of India. Okay. It also granted the Prime Minister immunity from any electoral laws applicable prior to the amendment. That means the Prime Minister election could not be declared to be void on any kind of law that was in force prior to this amendment. Okay, moving forward, let us understand the historical background behind this amendment. So, as I have explained to you that yes, her election as the Prime Minister was quashed by the Allahabad High Court. She could not contest election for 6 years, and the Supreme Court although granted her a conditional stay, but that stay was on the ground that she had no voting rights in the parliaments, and definitely she was not really happy with all of this, and that is why she introduced this 39th Constitutional Amendment. She was further debarred from holding any elective office for 6 years. And that was a huge concern at that point of time for the Government of India. And that is why a national emergency was also declared, so as her seat as the Prime Minister of India could finally be preserved. Now, let us examine the key provisions of the 39th Constitutional Amendment Act. So, basically, the 39th Amendment brought significant changes to the provisions concerning the elections of the President, Vice President, Prime Minister and the Speaker of the Lok Sabha. If you talk about the election of the President and the Vice President, the Supreme Court lost its power of judicial review. Judicial review. And if you talk about the election of the Prime Minister and the Speaker of the Lok Sabha, they were made to be immune from any law which was there before the commencement of this 39th Constitutional Amendment Act. Okay. So it also inserted a new Article 329 Clause A and also replaced Article 71 with a new provision. So complete overhaul of the constitutional structure was going on. And what was the aim behind all of this? To establish the supremacy of the central government. Supremacy of the central government over the judiciary. Over the judiciary in India. So basically the central government thought that yes, now we have the power to amend the constitution. Okay, and we can amend any part of the constitution, and they had some ulterior agendas as well, and that is why they were inserting all of these constitutional amendment one by one, and definitely they wanted to undermine the authority of the judiciary in India. Moving forward, let us discuss this newly added Article 329 Clause A, which was added by the 39th Constitutional Amendment Act. So basically, no law made by the Parliament before the commencement of the Constitution, 39th Amendment Act, insofar as it related to the election petitions, was to apply or be deemed ever to have applied to the election of the Prime Minister or the Speaker to the Parliament. That means this parliamentary law was immune of the effect of Article 102 subclause E, and Article 102 subclause E lays down a basic ground for disqualification, that if you are disqualified under any law, you will be disqualified from contesting the elections. So basically this Article 102 subclause E had no effect on the any parliamentary law that was enacted after the commencement of the 39th Constitutional Amendment Act. So such election was not to be deemed to be void or ever to have become void on any ground on which such election could be declared to be void, as has been declared to be void under any such law. Which law? The laws which were there before the 39th Constitutional Amendment Act. Moving forward, notwithstanding any court order, they have specified the term court order here, and you know why? Because they wanted to nullify any kind of court order previously or after due to which the candidature of the Prime Minister could be challenged. Okay, declaring such election to be void, it was to continue valid in all respects. So they were very clear with the intentions, agendas and the terms inserted in this article, the clauses inserted in this newly added article. Okay, so any such order and any finding on such order was to be deemed always to have been void and of no effect. That means no court order could have any kind of effect. This means that the appeal which was there before the Honorable Supreme Court of India of Srimati Indira Gandhi was also infructuous. How? Because of this amendment, any decision given by the Honorable Supreme Court of India against her would have become infructuous by this amendment, and that was the main target of this amendment. So basically the effect of clauses 1 and 2 of the new Article 329A thus was that the election of the Prime Minister and Speaker to a House of Parliament or Lok Sabha respectively would be governed by one law, while election of the other members of Parliament would be governed by another law. That means it gave precedence to the Prime Minister and Speaker of the Lok Sabha over other members of the Parliament. Okay, and their electoral disputes was kept out of the purview of the judicial review by the Honorable Supreme Court of India. They placed it in a electoral tribunal. Electoral tribunal. Okay, now let us understand and move forward about this electoral tribunal. Okay, So as regards the president and vice president, the basic change introduced was that the jurisdiction was taken away from the Supreme Court to decide any doubts and disputes arising in connection with their election. And I have explained this to you that yes, this finally moved to an electoral tribunal that was to be constituted under Article 71 Clause 2. So they changed the whole Article 71 of our Indian Constitution. Under the new Article 71 Clause 2, Parliament by law was to establish some authority or body for deciding such disputes, and its decision was not to be challengeable in any court. That means the decisions given by this electoral tribunal could also not be questioned in any court of law. The Supreme Court lost its power of judicial review over the decisions of this electoral tribunal as well. Okay, so what happened after this was the landmark Supreme Court judgment in the Indira Gandhi versus Raj Naren case. Okay, so Mrs. Gandhi's election appeal was next heard by the Honorable Supreme Court on 25th August 1975, where a challenge to the constitutional validity of Article 329A subclause 4 was also made. It had to be made because it completely stripped the power of the Supreme Court of judicial review. Okay. The Supreme Court overruled the Allahabad High Court's judgment and upheld Mrs. Gandhi's election. However, it struck down Article 329A subclause 4 on the ground that it violated the basic structure doctrine as has been propounded by our Honorable Supreme Court of India in the Keshwanand Bharati case. So, in the Keshwanand Bharati case, the Supreme Court made it clear that yes, the Parliament has the power to amend the Constitution, but they are not the Constituent Assembly. We will not let them rewrite the whole Constitution, and that is why it evolved the basic structure doctrine and said that no, you are not authorized to amend any kind of basic structure of the Indian Constitution. And this power of the judicial review of the Honorable Supreme Court of India was finally restored by the Honorable Supreme Court of India in the landmark case of Minerva Mills. Okay, so basically the Supreme Court's jurisdiction over the electoral disputes was restored in the case of Minerva Mills, and in this case the 39th Constitutional Amendment Act was declared to be unconstitutional in nature. And finally, the 44th Constitutional Amendment Act restored the judicial review power of the Honorable Supreme Court of India on any kind of electoral disputes. We will be discussing the 44th Constitutional Amendment Act in our further episodes of Constitutional Amendment series. With this, we come to a conclusion of our today's discussion. We have seen the background behind the enactment of the 39th Constitutional Amendment Act. We have also seen that yes, emergency was indeed a very dark era of the Indian democracy, and a lot of changes were happening in the Constitution of India to establish the supremacy of the central government over the judicial system in India. We have also analyzed the key provisions introduced by the 39th Constitutional Amendment Act. Now let us discuss the previous practice question which I have asked in the previous session of mine. So the question was, which of the following amendments made the satisfaction of the President in invoking Article 356 final and conclusive, which would not be challenged in any court on any ground? Your options were, option A was 36th Amendment Act, option B was 38th Amendment Act, option C was 42nd Amendment Act, and option D was 44th Amendment Act. So your correct answer was option B, 38th Constitutional Amendment Act. Now let us discuss some of the practice questions from our today's session. So the question is, through which amendment of the Indian Constitution the Supreme Court power to adjudicate election disputes of President, Prime Minister, Governor and Speaker of the Lok Sabha was taken away? Your options are, option A is 38th Amendment, option B is 39th Amendment, option C is 42nd Amendment, and option D is none of the above. So your correct answer is going to be option B, 39th Constitutional Amendment Act of 1975. Moving forward to the last question of our today's discussion. So the question is, Article 329A was added to the Indian Constitution by which amendment? So your option are, option A is 38th Amendment, option B is 39th Amendment, option C is 42nd Amendment, and option D is none of the above. And this answer will be given by you to me in the comment box below. I hope this session was insightful for you. If you have any feedback regarding this session, kindly drop it in the comment box below. If you liked today's discussion and found it to be helpful, kindly like the video and subscribe to our channel for more such interesting updates. Thank you.
For more informative content, like, share and subscribe, and do not forget to press the bell icon to get the notifications.